What's up, everybody, and welcome to the weapons tier guide for our burning babe over here, Battle Wizard. You all know and love her very much. So before I get into this tier list, let me just state that I think there are really two kind of pretty solid builds with Battle Wizard. These are two that I like to use. One is a build that incorporates Famished Flames in some way, and that is to say that her melee attacks, her ranged attacks from her staff, her dash, whatever, does 50% more burn damage while doing 30% less like non-burn damage, so just like physical damage, pretty much like a simple swing from an axe or something like that would count as physical damage. And then there's also Lingering Flames. It's a build that incorporates Lingering Flames. So basically, an enemy affected by one of Sienna's burn traits, talents, effects, whatever you want to call it, they burn until they're dead, pretty much. So you can hit them once, and then you can kind of like push them, run away from them, and they'll just eventually die. Even if it's a Chaos Warrior, it'll take longer, but they'll die. So it's those are the two builds. So with Lingering Flames, you have your normal physical damage, they burn till they die. So starting off in D tier, big shocker here, the Mace. Completely round and not very intimidating. It sucks against armor. Shocker, I know. It's also rather slow. I've just never met a single person that's liked this weapon at all, honestly. Like this one is not my favorite by a long shot. So it's bad versus armor. It's slow. It has pretty decent motions against like unarmored hordes. It can deal with those pretty well. And what the big thing for me is like it's really just not worth using in like Mace alone would not be enough for like a Famished Flames build. Like you'd have to have something from the staff to like really justify using Famished Flames with a Mace, because you're losing physical damage and you're gaining all this burn damage, but it doesn't really do that much burn damage. So you might as well just use like Lingering Flames with this. It kind of makes it one-dimensional in a way, and that's kind of what I'm looking at here. So that, for me, D tier, definitely. Up in C tier, the sword, a little bit better. It's actually got a decent speed, I think a little bit better speed than the Mace there. I'd say it's serviceable, but it's not, amazing against armor. The charge attacks do like a little bit. It's got good kind of side-to-side motions on those charge attacks, so it can kind of protect you a little bit. Your offense can kind of protect you in that way. But this one absolutely does no burn damage, which makes it extremely one-dimensional, because I would never use this and use Famished Flames, because you're basically just losing 30% of your damage with this weapon and you're gaining nothing, So this one for me, physically it's all right, but it's tough. This one's tough to like for me. Moving up to B tier, some decent weapons. Finally, the Flaming Flail. Yeah, this is a DLC weapon, but hey, it's not too bad. Like all flails, this one ignores shields. It's got decent speed and crowd control ability. And it's the first weapon that I think can actually work well with Famished Flames and not just Lingering Flames. So the first charge attack with this weapon, it's kind of like does like an overhead thing, and then does initial damage, and then it kind of does two or three ticks of burn damage afterwards. And with Famished Flames, that's like, I think it's more. No, it's 50% more. So yeah, a bunch more burn damage, and it really adds up. It's good for elites in that way. With Lingering Flames, you're kind of more just not really hacking and slashing because it's a flail, but you're swinging and twirling and smashing rats in the face. So this is a pretty decent weapon. I think I like it a little bit more on Unchained than I do with Battle Wizard, but definitely can work with both builds, in my opinion. So I like that. Bumping up to A tier, the Crowbill, another DLC weapon. Sorry, people who don't have DLC. But this one's pretty good. I like it, even on Battle Wizard. It's great for armor. It's got good damage. Only drawback of this one, it's really low cleave, so you're gonna have to really rely on like your dodging skill, your kind of blocking, your push hits, all that kind of stuff. But the light attack sequence with Famished Flames is really good because it's nice and quick, and you can do your little headshot and get that extra burn damage bonus. So that's really nice. If you want to go for a Lingering Flames build with this weapon, you still get the burn trait, and they burn until they die, and then you can kind of mess around, with your staff. You get the double walk dash, which lets you just kind of stagger things. You have options with this weapon. You can kind of do some things. This one's got armor piercing, of course. Really good for armor. Really good for elites. Struggles a little bit against hordes, but I mean, you're battle wizard, so you kind of have the dash. You can kind of deal with those a little bit better. So I have this one pretty firmly in the A tier. It's one I'm warming up to lately. I used to not really like this one, but I'm starting to come around on it. I think it's pretty good. Bumping up to S tier, a very popular one. This is the Dagger. This is another one that can work very well with both builds. Famished Flames and the charge attack on this one lets you do a lot of burn damage. You still do decent physical damage, I find, but that delayed burn damage is just like, it's a bunch, and that's a lot. With Lingering Flames, you do more physical damage, but much less burn damage. So it's kind of more damage initially, less damage over time. That's kind of the trade-off there. This one's very good for elites and hordes because it's got great speed. Does solid damage for light attacks. You can kind of cut through hordes unarmored, and when you get up to like Chaos Warriors, Berserkers, Chaos Raiders, things of that nature, you can kind of just do your little, I think she like tosses it in her hand, she kind of swipes up, doing a little physical and then some burn damage, and then she comes down. If you get, it's an easy headshot opportunity, so if you get that headshot, it's going to be a lot of damage, and then you got a little bit of burn damage that follows that. So pretty nice there. And then also in S tier, my personal favorite for Battle Wizard is the Fire Sword. Now this one is absolutely fantastic for hordes, for generating temp health. With the Famished Flames build, you do so much damage because this one, it's like a single swipe with your hand or something, which does very low physical damage, but already pretty decent burn damage. With Famished Flames, that's increased even more. And then the other charge attack is just like it's like a side swipe with your sword, kind of, which does a little bit of physical damage as well. And then a couple ticks of like burn damage. With Famished Flames, ooh, man, everything's gonna die. And with Lingering Flames, you're just able to affect everything with your fire. So everything eventually will burn until they die, and you will rack up damage with very minimal effort, as long as you can stay alive. So there you go. In the S tier, I have the Fire Sword and the Dagger. In A tier, I have the Crowbill. In B tier, I have the Flaming Flail. In C tier, I have the Sword. And in D tier, I have the Humble Mace. So let me know what you guys thought of this tier list. If you had a weapon higher, if you had a weapon lower, if you like the Mace, maybe you're the one in 1 million who like it. I don't know. Maybe you do. Let me know. Thanks.